Conan was forced to kill his best friend. Conan had buried many men, warriors, kings, mercenaries, even enemies worthy of respect. But there was only one grave he prayed he would never have to dig. The grave of the only man he had ever called brother. His name was Brenna. Long before Conan became a legend whispered across kingdoms, the two had survived together as sellswords. They had crossed frozen mountain passes with empty stomachs, escaped slave pits, fought raiders twice their number, and shared the last piece of bread more times than either could remember. They trusted each other without words. When one slept, the other kept watch. When one bled, the other carried him. Men said no gold could buy loyalty. Conan knew that was wrong. Gold bought loyalty every day. What could never be bought was brotherhood. Years passed, and fate separated them. Conan wandered south. Brenna disappeared into the eastern kingdoms. The Cimmerian assumed his friend had finally found peace. He couldn't have been more wrong. One evening, after days crossing a barren plateau, Conan noticed smoke rising from a ruined fortress built against the cliffs. It wasn't the smoke of a village. It was too dark, too thick, and it carried a smell he recognized immediately, burning flesh. He climbed the rocky slope without hesitation. As he approached, he found bodies, not soldiers, pilgrims. Their hands were bound. Their throats had been cut with terrifying precision. No valuables had been taken. This wasn't robbery. It was ritual. Conan knelt beside one corpse. The blood was still warm. Whoever had done this was close. A faint voice drifted through the wind. "Help!" Conan froze. He followed the sound into the fortress. The halls were ancient, their walls covered in faded symbols carved centuries earlier. Every few steps, iron braziers cast trembling shadows that made the stone seem alive. The voice came again. "We're here!" Conan entered a circular chamber. Chains hung from the ceiling. At the center stood a massive stone altar. Around it knelt a dozen prisoners, dirty, starving, terrified. Among them, Conan forgot to breathe. Brenna, the man slowly lifted his head. His beard had turned grey. His face was thinner. One eye was swollen shut, but the smile was the same. "I was beginning to think you'd never get lost again." For the first time in years, Conan laughed. Only for a moment. Then he cut the chains from Brenna's wrists. "What happened?" Brenna rubbed his bruised hands. "We walked into a trap." "Who?" "A cult." "What do they want?" Brenna looked away. "You!" Before Conan could answer, the enormous stone doors slammed shut behind him. The sound echoed like thunder. Torches burst into green flame. One by one, figures emerged from the darkness. Dozens of them, each wearing black robes stitched with crimson thread. None carried shields, none wore armor, only curved sacrificial blades. The oldest among them stepped forward. His face was hidden beneath a bronze mask. His voice was calm. "We welcome the last son of Cimmeria." Conan drew his sword. "I'm not staying." The old priest ignored him. "You have entered sacred ground. I've entered a slaughterhouse. It is the same thing." The cultists slowly surrounded the chamber. Brenna whispered without taking his eyes off them. "There are too many." Conan smiled. "There usually are." The priest raised one hand. "No blood needs to be spilled." Conan answered by taking a single step forward. The priest continued. "We require only one death." Silence filled the chamber. "You may choose whose." Conan frowned. "What game is this?" "No game." The priest pointed toward Brenna. "Kill him." The chamber fell silent. "And every prisoner here walks free." Conan stared at the old man. "If I refuse," the priest answered without emotion, "they all die." A child began crying somewhere among the prisoners. An elderly woman collapsed against the wall. Brenna slowly closed his eyes. Conan's grip tightened around the sword. The priest spoke again. "We know who you are. The unconquered warrior. The destroyer of kings. The breaker of chains." He stepped closer. "So let us see whether even Conan can break this one." No one moved. Even the torches seemed frozen. Then Brenna laughed softly. "I always knew we'd end up in trouble." Conan looked at him. "I'll get us out." "You always say that, and I always do." Brenna smiled sadly. "No, not this time." The old warrior walked toward the altar without resistance. He knelt. "I've lived a good life." Conan's jaw tightened. "Stand up." Brenna ignored him. "I've fought beside the greatest warrior I've ever known." "Stand. I've seen kingdoms rise and fall." "Stand! And if my death saves innocent people," he finally looked directly into Conan's eyes, "then don't hesitate." The chamber remained silent. Conan remembered another night many years earlier. They had been trapped beneath a collapsed mine. Only one opening remained, too small for both. Brenna had shoved Conan through first. "I'll find another way." He never told Conan there wasn't another way. By the time the Cimmerian dug back inside, Brenna had already escaped through a tunnel hidden beneath the rubble. He had lied only to save his friend. That was Brenna, always choosing someone else. The priest's voice interrupted the memory. "Choose." Conan slowly raised his sword. Gasps spread through the prisoners. The blade trembled. Not from fear, from rage. He walked toward Brenna. One step, another, another. Brenna never flinched. Their eyes met. No words remained, only years of battles, laughter, blood, snow, fire. "Brotherhood." Conan stopped inches away. The priest smiled beneath his bronze mask. "Yes. You understand now. The strongest chains are love." Conan lowered his head. The sword continued descending. Several prisoners turned away. One woman began praying. The blade stopped, just above Brenna's shoulder. Then Conan smiled, not with joy, with certainty. He turned so quickly, the priest never had time to react. The massive broadsword split the bronze mask cleanly in two. Steel exploded through bone. The old priest collapsed without a sound. For one heartbeat, the entire chamber stood frozen. Then Conan roared. "Now!" Brenna seized the fallen priest's curved blade. The prisoners grabbed chains, stones, broken wood, anything they could use. The cultists rushed forward. The chamber erupted into chaos. Back to back, as they had done 100 times before, Conan and Brenna fought together, older, more scarred, but unchanged where it mattered most. One covered the other's blind side. One anticipated the other's movements without speaking. Steel rang against steel. Blood covered the altar. The cult's perfect ritual dissolved into desperate survival. And in that moment, Conan understood something he had learned long ago, but almost forgotten. A true friend is not the man who dies for you. A true friend is the man who refuses to let you become someone you would despise. Long after the battle ended, people would remember the fortress as the place where an ancient cult vanished forever. But Conan remembered something else. He remembered that, for a single terrible moment, he had believed the only way forward was to sacrifice the person he loved most. Some choices are designed to break the body. Others are designed to break the soul. The wisest warriors learn to reject both. And if stories where courage, loyalty, and impossible choices are tested against the darkest corners of the Hyborian Age are the kind you enjoy, there are many more forgotten chronicles still waiting to be uncovered.